Also hitting the news today, as a matter of fact, was it appears that John Laurenitis has had the suit against him dropped by the Janelle Grant team in exchange for him flipping to that side for testimony. Though I don't know any details as to what he'll be testifying to. Laurinaitis, Kevin, is just such a polarizing figure. And even in this, even in allegations of trafficking, continues to be a polarizing figure and a controversial figure. So frequently throughout my years of talking to you wrestler types, a lot of
What exactly is a wrestler type?
Oh, that's a whole other discussion. People that get in a ring and work in the profession of professional wrestling and have to take
There's an actual.
a trope for you guys. Yes, usually very paranoid, very distrusting in business. Of course, this isn't everybody, but generally, paper thin egos. Very easy to hurt the ego of a wrestler. And
Wow.
and when we get to distrust, well, are you a basketball player or a wrestler? You were a wrestler by proxy, right?
Well, I mean,
You were an
I can.
athlete.
Yeah, I'm an athlete.
So, but
But I
almost
still wrestled. I wrestled for 30 fucking years.
you did, but there's a I don't know if it's adopted the culture of wrestling, these qualities of which I speak, or if it comes from wanting to be a wrestler when you're 5 and lying. Well, everything we said before that you didn't do. I don't know if it's chicken or the egg. Well, you would disagree with my assessment of many in the business?
Yeah, I think that yeah. I mean, if I
You
just.
don't think there's a paranoia in professional wrestling
But I mean, if I
from
look at
being
like,
fucked over
if
by?
I look at like the people that I still am in contact with, it's
Oh,
like,
no, maybe not them.
well, I can only go by that. I mean,
You've talked to thousands of wrestlers over your lifetime,
no, I've not talked to thousands.
hundreds.
You probably talked to more than I have.
Maybe I have. So just take my word for it and agree with me. To a person, not a lot of nice things business wise said about John Laurenitis from those that worked with him. And as far as I can recall, it was mostly professional distaste. He never robbed anyone of money. He never fucked anyone's wife. It was all that he was just an asshole to deal with on the job.
But the old time story is that's how he got his push in All Japan was he was
Oh,
with
right,
Baba's wife.
right, okay. But I don't
So
think that's why anyone doesn't like him.
well, I don't know. I wasn't in All Japan.
You weren't Baba. But is he an asshole? If I had to deal with him, if he was the agent, if he was the executive at the arena, would I be like, I want to knock this motherfucker out
Depends on where you are in the fucking
in the hierarchy, right?
yeah.
That's what it always comes down to, right?
It's like anything else.
But would he shit on an underneath guy? Would he treat him disrespectfully? Did you see that?
He was one of those guys that would come in and to show his worth to the office, he would say, "Hey, I know how we can fuck these guys. We'll put a time clock, and they got to sign in. And if they're not in by a certain time, then we'll fine them. And then that's why we can get all this some of this fucking guaranteed money that we got all these guys because they won't show up at 11 o'clock."
So this is
Not
very
not
Trump administration.
not understanding that the number one thing that differentiates you from being an employee to being a fucking
Independent contractor,
1099
right?
is fucking not having to show up to work on a certain time.
Absolutely correct.
So I mean,
Did he
and
fine you?
I never got
Not you.
fined.
You never paid a fine for him. But he fined people. No
I'm sure he
doubt.
did.
I heard stories all the time. People getting
I
fined.
remember we had that at TNA. We had the fucking sign-in sheet, and I used to put next to my name 1099.
That's great.
Never fucking heard a word.
So you never had a problem with Johnny Ace?
No, because by the time I had any kind of a relationship with him, then he didn't, it was nothing he was going to do.
Wouldn't you have worked with him also WWE, but
He was a dick at WCW.
then WCW, right? That's what I was gonna
He
say.
was at WCW before. Then he went to
Oh,
WWE
WCW first, then okay,
because they shut down.
right. Oh, was that? I didn't realize that's when he made the move when they absorbed the company.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. And then I was friends with the Bellas, and I was friends with their mom, and then Johnny started seeing the mom, ended up marrying her. So it was like I didn't, they were my friends. So
Mm-hmm. All right. I was just always want someone's take on him. He continues to be
I'm
the news.
it's one of those things like his life is fucked. Like he's fucked. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure he's at the point where I mean, I don't see him at signings. I don't know what he's doing for money. I mean, I'm sure his life is destroyed by this. So I mean, I I don't believe in the pile on fucking rule. I mean, his life is shit. So I'm not gonna sit here and fucking, you know, pour
Well, it was
gas.
out. It was more outside of these events. I was just the Laurinaitis story is always, is interesting. Also
Well,
getting
yeah, but
reports.
you don't. I mean, if you're involved in the situation
Yeah.
that he's involved in, that he's cutting a deal with,
Right.
um, you obviously have continually made bad decisions. Like I know for a fact that I'm not going to be called on the witness stand at the P Diddy fucking trial
No.
or this trial.
Didn't slurp man juice off anyone's wife.
No, I mean I tell my wife all the time. You always say that I was so fucking horrible, yet I don't know.
Wait, you say to your wife that she always said you were horrible
Yeah, she would always say
as a
she would.
as a younger man.
No, just even just in the business.
Oh.
She said, it was. And I'm not saying I was an angel by any fucking means, but a lot changes when you're like soon to be 66. Your your threshold to point a finger at somebody else is, you know. I look in the mirror every day. I'm so fucking happy I'm alive, and I wish I mean, I deal with every day. I deal with second guessing decisions and things that I did with my son that that I wish if I knew what I knew now, then there's so many things I would have changed, but I didn't, and there's nothing I can do about it except just.
But Kevin, didn't you get so much more right than you got wrong? Everyone gets something wrong as a parent.
Yeah, but some of the things I got wrong just,
He wouldn't have been the person he was without you, Kevin, and without Tamara. I don't want to discount her role.
no,
Everyone loved T.
I understand that, but it was just, I don't think that he was such especially when he got sick towards the end and he went, he, you know, and he got he got better. And then it was just like all of a sudden I just realized how fragile he was,
Hmm.
you know, and it's just and I was I was never the great Santini, but I was kind of a little bit of a rub some dirt on it kind of a dad. Like like I
You said to me, and I think everyone here one time, answering anyone being critical of any decisions you may have made, you said, I raised a man.
yeah
T was a man.
yeah it wasn't a little boy
And if not for, unfortunate health turns, he would have been a fine man.
because I raised him with the blueprint of I'm 34 now and I got a baby. I got 2 more years. That's when my dad died.
Hmm.
So I got to like everything was always that. Like when I made it to 40, I felt I was on borrowed time. So I always had to it was like crash course, like teach him as much as I could. I forget there was a movie that came out and the dad made videos like VHSs to give to his son. I think he was terminal and he wanted him to have as much knowledge as
Hmm.
he could possibly give his son before he passed. And I think that was kind of where I came from for a lot of his life.